If your fingers feel like they have a mind of their own, they won't go where you tell them, they move when you didn't ask them to, that's completely normal, and it's not a problem with your fingers or your hands. Your brain just hasn't built the connection to each individual finger yet. Today, I'm going to give you the exact exercise that builds that connection. With just 2 minutes a day, your fingers will finally start listening to your brain. And stick around, because at the end, I will give you an easier version if you're struggling and a harder version if you're crushing it. What we need to do to get our brain to connect to our fingers is to give each of our fingers a signal from our brain at the same time. And that's exactly what this exercise is going to do. You're going to have 4 fingers getting a signal. 3 will get the easy signal, stay. 1 will get the harder signal to move. And that's exactly what's happening when we're changing from, say, a G chord to a D chord. Some of our fingers stay, some of our fingers move. Now, when we do this exercise, every chord you've ever learned gets easier because the wiring that we're building will already exist when you go to change for the chords. It's all about building the brain-hand connection. So what I want you to do is line up on 5th fret with your index finger of the thinnest string, then the 6th fret with your middle, 7th fret with your ring, and I don't have a pinky, but you probably do, so you'll put that on 8th fret. What we're going to do is we are going to leave 3 of our fingers down, middle, ring, and for you, pinky, and we're going to lift up our index finger and just move it 1 string towards the ceiling. Then we're going to go to the next finger and do the same thing. Then our ring finger, and then you would move your pinky. Now we would be lined up on 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th of the 2nd string. We do the same thing, only we go to the 3rd string. Start with our index, then our middle, then our ring, and then you would do your pinky. And then we keep going. Now you want to make sure you're on the tip tops of your fingers. You want to make sure that you're using a light pressure, you're not death gripping, and you want to go slowly enough that you're not repeating mistakes. Your brain is going to learn whatever you do the most. So if you need to slow down to, say, get a stubborn ring finger to cooperate, that's perfectly okay. Now I've got that easier version and harder version coming up in just a second, but real quick, if you're ready to learn your first full song with me for free inside my course and community, join me at skool.com/guitar. I'll leave a link below. All right, so our easier version, we're going to line up on 5th, 6th, 7th, and for you, pinky on 8th fret of string 3. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to move 1 finger. We're only going to lift up our index finger and we're going to move it to the 4th string, and then we're going to move it back. Then we're going to take the same finger, we're going to move it to 2nd string, and then we're going to move it back. We're just going to repeat this 1 finger moving between 3 strings over and over again. Now, if you are having some struggle with this, it is okay to intentionally think, I'm squeezing these other fingers a little bit more aggressively just while we're doing the exercise. Because when you ask those fingers to squeeze just a little bit harder, it'll send a little bit of a stronger signal from your brain. Once we get done with that, we could do the same thing with our middle finger. And again, you could do this for a solid minute. And then we do our ring finger. Now, our ring finger is usually the one that's lagging. So it's okay to say, do the full regular spider, but come do this easier version just with your ring finger, say, because that's the one that's lagging behind, or maybe your pinky. Now, let's do a harder version. So for the harder version, we're going to line up on 5th, 6th, 7th, and again, I don't have a pinky, but you probably do, so that pinky will go on 8th fret. You're going to move your index finger to the thickest string and your middle finger to the thinnest. Now, we're going to lift those 2 up together and we're going to flip-flop them. Lift up, flip-flop. Now, we've got 2 fingers getting the signal to move, and only 2 are getting the signal to stay put. For me, 1. So that is going to be trickier because we got to get those fingers to move. And you see my elbow has to go in and out. I've got to navigate. How do I do that? Now, it's a little easier if we only go, 1 string away or maybe a little further. But if we go to those furthest strings, that's what makes it the hardest. So pick one, do it for 2 minutes at the start of every practice session, and I promise you'll feel it today and you'll really notice it this week.